Alright, on this problem, notice that we have our variables are on one side, but we do have some distributing that we have to do. So there's no like terms we can combine. We can't combine the negative 3 and the positive 3 because they're being multiplied to what's inside of the parentheses. So let's go ahead and start by distributing this 3. 3 times x gives me 3x. 3 times negative 5 gives me a negative 15. And then negative 3 times x gives me a negative 3x. And if I go over, I have negative 3 times negative 6 gives me a positive 18. Now, I'm going to go ahead at this point and bring down my 3. And what I want to do is I want to have the variables on one side and the numbers on the other side. But I wonder if you're looking at this, I think you should be thinking that we see something in common. And again, it's much like the other equation that we had. Notice I have a positive 3 right here, x, and I have a negative 3x. If I were to move this 3x over here, it would be positive 3x. What that tells me is I have two slopes that are going to be the same, that will be equal to each other. And if the slopes are equal to each other, remember that's going to mean we have parallel lines. Now if we look at our y-intercepts, and let me, I'm going to rearrange this just so you can see. If I were to say positive 3x, because I want to make this point, and then I were to move, let's say I'm going to subtract my 18 as well. That gives me 0 here. That gives me 0 here. What I'm left with, if I break that up this way, is I have 3x plus 3 equals 3x minus 15. And then we subtracted 18. We also have to subtract 18 over here. So let me subtract out that 18. And we have 3x minus 15 is equal to 3x minus 15. Now, you didn't have to do this extra step to solve it. I just did this because I wanted you to see that we have two equations that are exactly the same and are equal to each other. So if we have two equations and they're exactly the same and they're equal to each other, and they both have a y-intercept of negative 15, we're actually going to have two lines that are graphed on top of each other. Our second line, it's also going to be over the same line. Now with that being said, what we should be thinking is that this answer is going to be all real numbers, because the solution is every point on this line because they overlap. Now we're going to finish solving this real quick just so you can see that I'm correct in what I said, and you'll see why we set this up to confirm that. But I'm going to go ahead and subtract negative 3x from both sides. If I do that, we end up with 0 and 0. Bring this down. And then I'm going to add 15 to both sides. Once again, we end up with 0 and 0. So our final answer is 0 is equal to 0. And whenever we have an answer that says 0 is equal to 0, then the answer is all real numbers. And that just means it doesn't matter what number you pick, any number you pick is going to be correct, right? Because everything on this number line matches up. Our solution is infinite. It goes all the way across the line. So all real numbers will work.